You are now listening to CTR Media Network.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all, never lasting. Motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions.
This is LaQuita Tucker, I should say Dr. LaQuita Tucker, and she is listening to the podcast on CTR Media Network.
That's me. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks to her, my podcast is doing great.
350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence, all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are, the media network. That's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all, never lasting. Motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence, all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show.
The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it.
Hello. Thank you for being here. I am so excited about my guest today, Miss LaQuita Parks. But before I do, I just want to ask you to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And please share this particular broadcast with your friends and family and followers. Please do so. We've got good evening for Futina. Thank you for being here. And Sandra, thank you for being here. Hello. And let me pull up my guests. Hello, Miss LaQuita Parks. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here.
I am just so excited to have you here. And what I'm going to do is take a few minutes and tell our listening audience about LaQuita Parks. LaQuita is the founder and CEO of Pay Pro V. Pay Pro V. Thank you. Pay Pro V Publishing Company. I should have asked you before we even started. And a failure to communicate LLC, as well as a relationship communications coach, writing coach, and mentor with a passion for people and their well being. She is also the host of her own podcast show, My Heart on Pages, and the host of the Power of Your Story radio show. LaQuita is also the founder and facilitator of Exhale, a social communications group for women who meet to discuss different issues ranging from personal to political. Bequita created the PayPro publishing platform to help people start the healing process because she believes that their power is in your story and that writing and sharing your story can be therapeutic. Walking Limitations, by other people's definition, is Laquita's first published book and the true story of how she went into the hospital to have a simple procedure and it left her crippled for life at the hands of a nurse. We're going to hear more about this story. This created a medical to tsunami, I'm sorry, a medical tsunami that has affected her life for the last 48 years. Writing her story started the healing process for her, and she helps others to do the same with their story. Since starting PayPro publishing in 2020, Laquita has been able to help clients all over the country take their stories from a thought to a realization. Through her So What's Your Story segments, she coaches people through the process of how to start writing their own stories. She has a degree in business and has been planning and facilitating successful mentoring and communication coaching sessions for nearly 20 years through the state of Georgia. Laquita is an out of the box thinker who believes that effective communications has the power to build bridges, while ineffective communication can tear them down. She believes how we feel about ourselves as has a direct connection to how we communicate. Amen. Through her A Failure to Communicate mentoring programs, she mentors young people on the importance of loving themselves from the inside out. Her programs include Beauty Redefined, Manhood Redefined, A Year of Discovering Me, and Catch, CATCH, a job readiness training program. Well, I could go on and on and on,
That's
but
pretty good.
I am going to pause and give you an opportunity to even share more. And
Thank
so
you so much.
yes, I'm going to give you the floor. And again, I'm honored that you're here. And also, let me say happy Valentine's Day to my listening audience. Happy Valentine's Day to you. And it's all about love. And it doesn't matter whether it's loving of a spouse or a partner, but loving on your children, loving on your friends, loving on those people that are dear to you. That's what this day is about. So happy Valentine's Day. And I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, thank you so much. I know that was a lot to read, that bio, but thank you so much, so very much, Vera. Again, I'm LaQuita Parks, and I am the CEO and founder of PayPro Publishing. And, you know, PayPro means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I absolutely love helping people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And you know, I use my story, my own true story of childhood trauma at the hands of a nurse, as a way to help people get through their stories, because I believe that there is somebody always waiting on the other side of your story so they can get healing from their story. So a part of my story, again, I am the victim of medical childhood trauma. So today we're talking about, with Vera, we're talking about overcoming my walking limitations. And my walking limitations started when I was 4 years old. and I went into the hospital to have my tonsils removed. I kept having sore throats. So my mom took me to the doctor and they said my tonsils had to go. They assured my mother that it would be a simple procedure. I went into the hospital. They said she'll have the simple procedure, stay overnight a couple of days, and she can go home and she can have ice cream. And I remember that because I was looking forward to ice cream. I was 4. It was a treat. Well, the tonsillectomy was a success, but through the night, a nurse came into my room and jabbed me in the thigh with a needle, and it caused my leg to swell. She struck the nerve. The doctors rushed in and they told my mom that they had to take me to surgery to amputate my leg. If they
Oh my
did not, my
God.
leg would burst and I would die. That started a medical tsunami for me. Now, I had somebody ask me a question today, Vera. They said, you know, I know did the nurse do that on purpose? Well, I was 4 years old, and I would like to think that a nurse who is trained in pediatrics would not purposely come into a room and purposely damage me. I don't think that was the case. I do believe that it was an accident, but what transpired after that is what happened. The nurse, according to the hospital, she left the hospital with my records. There are no records of what happened. It started a medical tsunami. It happened at Grady Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. There was never an admission of guilt. There is never an apology. There was never, I'm sorry. And so for the last 49 years, I don't know a day without pain. And it started a tsunami effect for me. So I've had 15 surgeries on my right leg and foot. That led to me being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 11. I was diagnosed with lupus 6 years ago. I have fibromyalgia, so I have connective tissue diseases, and my leg is deformed. So because of that shot, or the jab, as people call shots today, because of that, I have had over 30 surgeries throughout my body, including having to have my babies vaginally because they took bone out of my hip and it altered the shape. So my babies could not get into the birth canal. So it has affected my life, but I don't tell my story for people to feel sorry for me. I don't know a day without pain, but every single day. And some people, Vera, they don't understand that. They think, okay, I hurt my arm. I know what pain feels like. My shoulder hurts, or my knee hurts, or my back hurts. But when I say pain, I mean every single solitary day of my life. I go to bed in pain. I wake up in pain. I wake up through the night in pain. So when I get in the shower, my body determines how long I stay in the shower. It determines whether this is going to be a long shower day or it's going to be a short shower day. It determines what type of shoes I put on. What can I wear? If I need to be able to sit elevated. I'm trained. My body is trained by pain. But again, I don't tell that story so that people can feel sorry for me. I've had people to say, you know what, you could stop doing whatever it is you're doing, simply give up. I could have taken the stance to do nothing with my life and feel sorry for myself, and nobody would probably have blamed me. But that's not my life. That's not what I wanted. So when I went to the Mayo Clinic, I had to go to the Mayo Clinic 4 times. So my last time at the Mayo Clinic was in February of 2020. And the doctor told me, after 4 trips back and forth to the Mayo for 4 months, the doctor told me, while you're not dying, you are suffering. And I thought, this is not going to be my life. So I had to do something so that I could have a quality of life. And the publishing company and the radio and the podcast, those are all distractions for me. And with that, it gives me the opportunity to get a reprieve from my pain. Now, it doesn't mean that my pain goes away. It just means that I'm not focusing on that, because I believe that we become what we focus on. So I
Amen.
don't focus on the pain. Now I'm sitting here now and there's pain. I have pain. I know it's there. I feel it. I feel it in my hip. I feel it in my leg. I feel it in my foot. I feel it in my ankle. I feel it. But I'm not focused on it. So it is not the highlight of what's going on in my life right now. So I help people to understand that God has already equipped us with everything that he needs us to do for him while we are in the position that we're in. That means physical, financially, mentally, emotionally. So I can't use what's going on in my life as an excuse to do nothing. So
Amen.
I do a lot. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that. Just seeing and Vera, you know what that feels like. Just seeing the breakthroughs, just seeing somebody who people have said, you know, if I were you, I wouldn't share your story. I wouldn't put my business out there. Or I wouldn't put my story in a book. Or I wouldn't. Or if I were you, I wouldn't. And there are so many roadblocks where people feel like I can't do this. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can. You can.
And not only can you, but you have to understand we go through, I am convinced that we go through what we go through so that we can be a help to other people.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
can't do that if we're not willing to share. And to the
Absolutely.
extent that we are willing to open up and share parts of our lives and things that have happened to us, is to that same extent that other people will recognize I'm not the only one.
Yes. And what goes on in our life, what happens in our life is not for us. We can't be hoarders of our story. If I keep it to myself, I'm burying it within me. Nobody is going to be helped. Nobody is going to be blessed through my story. So my story is to show people that, you know what, because there's somebody who's gone through, a lot of people in this country, especially Black people, go through medical trauma and at the hands of somebody else. So there are people who have decided that they're going to give up. They're done. You know, Vera, I had an appointment today because I'm having some additional issues with my legs. And I was talking to the doctor, the new specialist, and he was just so very kind. And he gave me the ability to talk, you know, share what was going on. And I said to him, if my issues, if you find that it's because what's going on with you now is because you've had so much surgery and there's so much scar tissue and there's so much damage that there isn't anything we can do, I can accept that. But don't tell me, well, the only thing we can do is give you a pill. I'm letting you know now, I don't want a pill. I don't want your pain medicine so that I'm out of pain. I want us to address the issue. And as we go through that, I can't do pills because I need for my mind to be able to be strong. So my body is not that strong, but my mind is strong. So as we go through, we have to know that we have to be advocates for ourselves and not wait on somebody else to do it.
Amen.
So
Amen.
so when I told the doctor, I had a doctor to tell me that it would have been better for me at 4 years old for the doctors to have amputated my leg and given me a prosthetic than for me to be going through everything that I'm going through now, because he said I'll go through it for the rest of my life. Well, the doctor that I saw today, he said while I understand that because of where you are now, he said as a 4-year-old, it would have been hard pressed for anybody to make the decision to amputate, because you were 4 years old. So the goal was to save the limb, save the leg. And I understand that. So it's different now that I'm 53 years old to have to make the decision to become an amputee, or, you know, to deal with this. And I'm not saying that's on the table, but it's different. So my point is, as we grow, our stories we have to share our stories so that we can find somebody. And you know what? They don't know. There's somebody listening to your show tonight that they didn't know that my story was what they needed today. They just know
Right.
that there's something that they needed. And God put us on this earth with people. Because if God didn't want us to be around people, then he wouldn't have put us on this earth with people. He wouldn't have created families. We wouldn't have had people who could share with us and to help us bear our burdens. So as we
Yes.
go through that, we have an opportunity to help other people through our stories.
Well, let me ask you, because given that this tsunami, as you call it, happened at the hands of a medical professional, were you able to get any um recon I can no
There's been
recon
no
no
compensation. There's been nothing. Nothing. No,
Wow.
not even, my son, I talked to my children are very close. And as I was sharing with my son today, yet another appointment, my son says, I am so sick of this. This is what my son said. I'm sick of this. He said, I am so sick of these doctors using you as a pincushion and as a guinea pig because, and this doctor today said, I've never seen, and in my 17 years of being a surgeon, I've never seen the amount of trauma that you have going on your leg. I've never seen this amount of trauma. And this doctor felt the need to apologize where the people at Grady Hospital never did.
And you have no recourse at all.
I'm looking into that. And this is the first time, this year is the first time that I have said the name of the hospital in all of my years of sharing my story. And so Grady Hospital, I just said a hospital. I never
Right.
said the name. And I'm not afraid to say the name anymore because it's, somebody has to be accountable. Why did I go into the hospital and even if there are no records right now, why is it that this child went into the hospital to have her tonsils removed and came out of the hospital some months later? I was in the hospital for a couple of months. How is it that she came out and could not walk when the tonsils have absolutely, now I'm not a doctor, but I can bet you that the tonsils have absolutely nothing to do with the leg.
No.
Not one single thing.
No.
The throat don't connect to the ankle bone. You
No.
know what I'm saying? So there has never been any compensation. So I am literally financially paying for something that I did not create.
And see, that's not right.
It is not right.
It's not.
not
It's
right.
not right. And we're praying that the Lord will intervene here
Absolutely.
because this is not right.
No.
And to hear your story and you're doing, and the thing is, you are doing so many things in the midst of your pain.
Yes.
And so I want to say to my listening audience, there's no need for excuses.
No.
There is no need. I mean, this woman is in pain 24/7. I have aches and pains, but I can't imagine, just constant throughout your body.
Yes.
And God bless you for being an inspiration. And you're also working with school systems and doing things.
Yes.
You were sharing with me one of the things that you're doing, and that is so awesome.
Yes.
Yes. So please.
So I love being a mentor. And even when I worked in corporate America, I was the coordinator for the education program. So I love education. So I am now, and I love collaboration. Collaboration is key. Sometimes, Vera, there are people who's like, oh, well, they don't work with other people because they think somebody's going to steal their shine or they're going to get something less than somebody else. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
I partner with an organization in Duluth, Minnesota. And I'm in Georgia, okay? Duluth, Minnesota, called Men as Peacemakers. And Men as Peacemakers, they liked my mentoring program, a failure to communicate mentoring program. So I trained their group who coordinates the school programs. So I trained them in my a failure to communicate mentoring programs for them to implement those programs in their school systems in Duluth, Minnesota. Now here's the amazing part. That itself is amazing. When I started a failure to communicate back in about 13 years ago, I think we celebrated 15 years in 2022. When I first put that, did it, I said, wow. I worked with Atlanta Public Schools, Clayton County Schools, Fulton County Schools, and I had children from, DeKalb County in my programs. And I said, this is an amazing program. It should be in every school system in the county, in the country. And so to have my program now in Duluth, Minnesota, and it's amazing. And so what I did is I love what I say. Partnerships is a wonderful thing. Collaboration. So I collaborated a failure to communicate mentoring program and Pay Pro V Publishing. I put those together, and I wrote the whole program. I wrote a writing component to the program. And so now they are doing a collaborative book, and I'm writing those, they're writing those stories, and I get to virtually every 2 weeks, I get to meet with them and give them assignments, and I get to give the coordinators, I get to train them and just spend a lot of time writing the programs. And at the end of this program, they will have a book. These young people will become published authors. And I absolutely love that. I love it. I worked with a program this past summer, 3 creative writing programs, and they now, 3-year-olds, 3 to 9-year-olds, their stories are in this book.
Oh,
so this is called colorful little minds. And I work with young people. So one of my mentees did the cover. She's 15 years old. She did her first illustrated book when she was 13. She's 15 now. So I use young people who
absolutely
are as mentees. I have two junior illustrators right now, and they are both working on projects where they are illustrating whole books.
That is amazing.
They will be published authors, and they can make money. They get authors' copies just like the authors of the book. So
that is awesome.
I love it.
Futina, she says that's phenomenal. She also says yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it is phenomenal. We are so in line a lot, and we determined this before.
Yes, we got to work on that book. Our parenting book.
Yes. And I mean, what you're doing is just amazing. And again, what we do is so in line with each other that I'm looking forward to us collaborating as well. And Darlene, she says, amazing. Hello, Darlene. Thank you for being here. She says, it is amazing what you do. And you know what? I am going to have to pause for a commercial break.
Okay.
And so I will be right back.
My name is Shayla Unique.
That's the wrong way.
We want to give a shout out to our CTR Media Network sponsor, Terry Coleman from GlobalKeyCapital.com. Global Key Capital is a lender specialized in customized financing solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority, and they strive to provide all of their clients with competitive pricing, unbeatable customer service, and stress-free processing. If you are looking for your next dream home or investment property, give Terry Coleman a call at 866-325-6267. Again, that number is 866-325-6267. GlobalKeyCapital.com.
Today with Ms. Mac Marketing. 848-236-5026.
Yes. Now, let me just piggyback and say CTR Media Network. If you're looking to expand your podcasts and your video shows and what it is that you're doing, if you want additional education on how to be the best podcasters in the world, you want to go and check out CTR Media Network. Also, Ms. Mac Marketing. If you want to shine in the public arena, you want to check out Ms. Mac Marketing. If you want to support my program and all the things that we're trying to do, please go to Cash App $ and still great, or PayPal and Zelle, Vera Thomas Show 1117 at gmail.com. I need your support. We can't continue on with our shows and do all the things that we want to do unless we have your support. I'm also looking for advertisers and sponsors. So if interested, DM me on in the Vera Thomas Show Facebook page or on Instagram, Instilling Greatness. All right, all right. So I wanted to get those things out. And now we're back to LaQuita Parks.
Yes. So you were asking a question, Vera, before you went to commercial.
Yeah, I wanted you. I mean, you're doing so much, and I mean, the writing with the kids. I mean, and girl, I had a senior moment. So.
So a part of I do a radio show, and the radio show is called The Power of Your Story, and it's a weekly show on Trivia's Inspirational Radio, and it's I interview people whose stories are inspirational, motivational, and encouraging. And because there's so much going on in the world that I don't think there is enough motivation. There's not enough encouragement. You know, we can easily find things that will tear our spirits down.
Yes.
You know, today's Valentine's Day, and there's somebody somewhere feeling unloved.
Yes.
And I did a post this morning saying, what's love got to do with it? And I said, you know, love is a rainbow, and at the end of that rainbow is a pot of gold, and in that pot of gold are the fruits of the spirit. And in that, you know, that's love. That's what love is. It's the patience, it's the kindness, it's the self-control, it's the peace, it's the love. So that's, you know, if you have any of those things, then you have love. You know, and you know, somebody said, hey, if you can't be loved by somebody else, love yourself.
Yes.
That's self-love. That's the law of the land. You gotta love you.
Absolutely.
If I can't love me, I sure can't love you.
Absolutely.
And nor would you want me to.
Exactly. Even scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yourself. Exactly.
You can't love your neighbor if you don't love yourself.
Exactly. And it comes out. You can't hide that. You cannot hide that. So in the midst of everything that I've gone through and that I continue to go through, my goal is to just keep moving on, just keep pushing. With the pain, I have connective tissue diseases, and each one of them within themselves is debilitating. So I wake up some morning and I don't know if the pain is from the RA or if the pain is from the lupus, but I know when the pain is from the fibromyalgia, because that's a different kind of pain. It's your every muscle in your body hurts. When I'm in a flare, and I was in a bit of a flare last week, and sometimes and stress drives that. So I try to maintain, you know, I do a lot. So I try to maintain my stress level. But when I wake up in the morning and I can't touch my own body, I can't press my arms against me, I can't touch, you know, press on my arms, that's a fibromyalgia flare. And when it hurts for the water to touch you, when it hurts for the sheet to touch you, I've been there. I've been there. You know, when I went to the Mayo Clinic, and he said, though you're not dying, you are suffering. And he was giving me a rundown of all of the things that I tested positive for, all of the different ailments when all of the labs came back and the x-rays and all that came back. I didn't hear it. My ears closed off to, though you're not dying, you are suffering. So fast forward a year and a half ago, I woke up and I didn't know what was going on. I felt like somebody had beat me with a Mack truck. I called the doctor and made an appointment because this was different pain. And I went to the doctor and I was telling her it hurt. I was trying to hold my 6-month-old grandchild. You know how they like to stand. It was hurting for me to hold this child. And I'm like, something is not right here. And when I went to the doctor, she said, Miss Parks, you know, you have fibromyalgia. All I could say was, oh, I forgot. And I was in a flare. That was the first time. So I know how to identify that. And I know that stress does not work for me. So I try and not put myself in those positions where I'm going to be suffering. But there are times when the suffering is worth it. And those times are when I get to spend time with my 5 grandchildren. They won't be little for long, and they range in age from 11 to 1.
Yes.
And they won't be young, they won't be little long. So I like to hug on them. I like to pick them up. I like to for them to give me hugs, because they, they will either be too old or they be like, okay, we won't have time for Nana.
Right.
So it keeps me going. At the same time, knowing that I'm helping people to tell their stories is what keeps me going. So being able to help this woman write her first book, Jacqueline Cox, helping
Yeah.
her,
Oh, yes.
beautiful story, her first book.
Yes.
Being able to help this man, Anthony Wallace, this is his first book. He's written 5 books now.
Oh, wow.
She's working on book number 2 now. This lady, first book, first time author, Gwendolyn Johnson. This woman, first children's book, Tracy Adams, first book. Being able to help them take their stories from a thought to a realization, that keeps me going, and it takes my mind off of what I'm going through.
Right. And to the extent that we focus on others and other things, then our problems seem less.
Yes.
And you're a perfect example of how you can overcome devastating pain
Yes.
and still move forward and do the things that God has ordained you to do. Now,
Yes.
are the books that you publish, are they on Amazon or?
They are on Amazon. Some of them sell them from their website. I sell them from my website. So if people are interested, they can reach out to me. We love Amazon, absolutely love Amazon, but I like for them to go through the authors. If they have a website, go to their website. All of my books are sold through payprovpublishing.com. I love a lot of these are first time authors, and they're like, I have another book. And my thing is, you have to tell your story. And Vera, like I know they're getting rid of books in the schools, books that when we grew up, if they didn't make you feel for the powers that be, if those books don't make you feel good, if they make you feel like my ancestors did something and I feel bad, they want to wipe them out of the library. They want to take them off the shelf. But we have to create the narrative. I was researching and this is Black History Month, by the way.
Yes.
I was researching something for my show last week. I did a Black History show last week. And did you know, Vera, that there were only 12 or 13% in 2012? There were only 2016. There were only 12% of children's books and illustrators that were people of color.
Wow.
That was just 7 years ago.
And now it's exploding, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's a beautiful thing. So it makes you go, what? That's a beautiful thing. So if you have a book in you, get it out, write your story. Sometimes we take a look at what other people have done and say, oh, well, I can't do that because they did. Don't look at this.
Compare yourself.
Don't compare.
Because every time we compare ourselves, we fall short. Every single time.
Yes, and whatever other people are doing is not your business. Right. It's not your business. It's their business, because you can't. And I've said that before. I get a chance to meet and deal with a lot of people. I get a chance to work with a lot of people. And again, I love my collaborations. I love working with my international group. I love working with my partners in crime, my partners, not partners in crime, but I love working with the collaborations because it elevates everybody's platform.
Yes.
Everybody's. And it doesn't take anything away from it.
And people need to understand. And as a matter of fact, there's another coach, and she says, your net worth is your net work.
Yes.
And so being able to collaborate, come together, do things that's going to uplift and encourage, motivate, inspire, and educate.
Exactly.
When we are doing those things as a collaboration, it's synergy.
Exactly.
It's where 1 and 1 no longer equals 2, but 1 and 1 equals 3, because you got power in the synergistic movement of collaboration.
Yes, I collaborated with America's Supermom, Lachelle Atkins, And I met her I was scrolling through Facebook one day right during the pandemic, and she said, if she's a coach, and she's a business coach, and she said, if I can help anybody, reach out to me. And I said, okay, this lady seemed nice, let me reach out to her. And I did, and she helped me through some stuff. I reached out to her 4 times, and each time she never said no. And that 4th time I said, what do you charge? I said, you have to charge something. She never, prior to that moment, she never said, here is an invoice, you owe me this is what I charge. She never said that to me. When I asked her what were her fees, then she told me, and I did not hesitate to sign up for her services. And because she proved that she could help me, and it was my responsibility. We can't get everything for free. And so she helped me. And do you know, I have published, she referred people to me, and most of the people she referred to me pulled the trigger, and I've published their books. And she had already published in an anthology, but when she got ready to publish her solo story, she has a huge network of thousands. And there are publishers in her network, but she decided, I'm going to get LaQuita. I'm going to go with LaQuita. And there were people who said to her, oh, I could do better than that, or I could, but she chose to go with me. And I really, really appreciated that. I appreciated that. So sometimes we look at people who are, are the billionaires of the world and say, okay, well, I want to go with them. And then you don't look at the little guy, the small business owner, the person just getting started. You discredit them. So we can't do that. So collaborations, this woman is still referring people to me.
Yes. Coffee Conversations with Sandy and Friends. Hello, Sandy. She says, this is good. Yes, thank you for being here and listening. Yes. So you're giving such great nuggets, and you're sharing your heart.
Yes.
And so people need, and so one of the things that I think that you're sharing is like, when you have a gift or a talent, and scripture says your gifts will make room for you.
Yes.
And you don't have to, it'll come. It will come. You just got to do the work.
No, you can't get away from the work.
Huh?
You can't get away from the work.
No, you can't get away from the work. You got to do the work. So this is awesome. This is what you're doing is just phenomenal. And so these children, now, is this the first time that you've used your project and created books with these kids in this mentoring program, or have you done it before?
So I've done, with A Failure to Communicate, I've done projects with them, but I did not do the mentoring program. I didn't do the publishing. When I did during this past summer, I worked with 3 different groups, and their ages ranged, and we did creative writing. And so their projects were able to go in a book. These are high school students in Duluth, Minnesota. And this is the first time that I've implemented the writing component in this project with the mentoring. So it's the first time I've done that. And so not only are they writing, I'm actually coaching them through the process. So they had to, and there were steps. So here's week 1. This is what you do. There were instructions for the students and instructions for the coordinators. It has to be fun. It can't seem like, okay, well, I'm just leaving school and I got to go do more work. No, it's supposed to be fun. And when they came to me and I said, well, what kind of things are they talking about? One of them said, well, they were kind of getting a little dark, where they were talking about, some murder mystery or whatever. And I said, keep in mind, it's their project. It's their writing project. I said, so allow them to do that. But your job is to coach them and say, okay, where are you going with this? So if it's going to be a murder mystery, then you have to include a whodunit. So I was able to coach them through that. And so today everybody gave me an introduction. I shared my introduction with them. And it's like, in your introduction, you have to start strong and finish strong. Because when I start reading a book, if the introduction doesn't catch me, I don't know if I'm going to continue reading the book. I'll go straight to the back and see what happens. And if it doesn't catch me, then I'm just done. So I had told them this. I said, your introduction needs to make me curious and want to know more. And each one of them brought it today. They were all different. They were all different. And I said, okay, so I have questions. And they were like, I don't know. This is as far as I've gotten. I was like, okay, well, here's some thoughts. What happened to Sandy? How did she get to this part? There was this burning in the pit of her stomach that reminded her of what her mom said to her. How did she get to that conversation? Is she walking by herself? Was she meeting somebody? Is it cold outside? And they like, oh wow, and so like snapping, like, oh wow, oh, that's a good idea, what are they doing? So those are things that you, as the writer, your job is to take me on a journey. So as the reader, I should be in the cornfield. I should be sitting perched on top of a tree. I should be, in the water. I should be there. I should be in the kitchen being screamed at. All of those emotions, I should feel those. That's what you want your reader to do. You want them to be able to read your book and not put it down. It's like, oh, wow, I read that in one day. What happened? Those are page turners, and that's what you want. So that's how I coach my people.
Well, listen, audience. And I've had a lot of publishers on my show as well. So I want you to take heed to what LaQuita is giving you right now. And again, do not be afraid to start thinking about writing your story and sharing your story. Everybody's story is different, yet there's so many commonalities and so many things where other people will be able to identify and understand this is her story, but it's a part of mine too. Mm-hmm. And therefore I can open up more and be more receptive to what's being said and what's being written. That is powerful. That is powerful. I need to take another commercial break and we will be right back. Let me... Yes, Sandpeep Financials. If you're looking for capital, you're interested in capital investments, you want to contact Sandpeep Financial. All right. And now, one of the things that you've done so many things and you've made such a difference. When people, how can I ask this question? So what would you say has been the most fulfilling thing for you? And what would you say has been the most challenging outside of the pain that you've experienced and all of that? What has been one of your main challenges?
So the most fulfilling thing for me has been obeying the gospel of Jesus Christ. Being baptized into Christ. That's been the most fulfilling thing. I did not know true peace. So even though I go through what I go through, I have peace because I know that this is all temporary. And that's just been the highlight of everything. And I would be totally remiss if I did not say that. That's how I live my life. That's how I make every effort to live in accordance with the word of God. That's been the highlight. Another highlight has been my support circle. I have an amazing support circle. People who love me and who will, they go through the trenches with me. I can call them up and say, hey, I need, and they'll be there without question. So an amazing support circle. What has been the challenging part is navigating through the business of publishing. When I first started the publishing company, Vera, I was like, okay, everybody's my client. Everybody has a story, so everybody's my client. That is not the truth. I have learned better. Everybody is not my client. I have learned that I am not everybody's cup of tea, and everybody is not my cup of tea. I have to stand. I have a belief system, and I have to stand for what I believe in. So there are things that I simply will not publish. And there are people who are like, okay, well, they won't work with me because I don't publish the erotica and the urban fictions. And that's fine, because there are people who will. And I've coached a lot of people who have wanted to work with me, where there has been, a lot of language in their books, and and I'll say, okay, you can say what you need to say without cussing somebody out.
Thank
You don't
you.
have to do that. And so one of the challenges is working with people who are not ideal clients. They make the job more stressful. There are some people who you can't please no matter what. And I had that experience with someone, and I had somebody to say, after sharing, it's like, okay, wow, I don't know what's going on. And I had somebody to say, LaQuita, you're not going to ever be able to please this person. And I was like, well, let me try. It's like, you're not. And they were right. There was nothing that I could do to please them. Every time I did this, they wanted that. Oh, it was a problem. And I started thinking, is it me? So I started operating differently, and reaching and going above and beyond. And I already do that. And there was nothing I could do to please that person. Well, that person wasn't ideal. However, I saw the signs before they signed the contract. I saw those signs, and I ignored them. And sometimes we get into a financial situation, and was like, okay, I need money to pay this bill, or I need to pay for this project, or whatever it is. And we accept clients that we should not have accepted. And so that was an issue. So that's been the challenge. But I am learning as I grow. Also being able to have wise counsel, having somebody that I can call and say, hey, let me share this with you. And for them to tell me, no, you're wrong. That's not right. Or you're thinking wrong. Or have you thought about it this way? And having somebody to bounce my frustrations off of. Those are some strong points. And the challenges, the most challenge has been, we have to have hard conversations with people. And, sometimes as a business owner, I have to have hard conversations with my clients. I have people, they come to me. We are not writers. Most people are not writers by birth. It has to be taught. You have to be trained. And I've had some of my clients to reach out and say, hey, they've sent something. And I say, okay, this isn't ready to be published. Or it goes to the editor and it comes back, and the editor, has marked it and said, this doesn't make sense. Or why is this and why is that? And I had one client to say, he was like, I don't agree. I don't like what the editor said. I don't agree with this. And I said, okay, my job is to help you take your story from a thought to a realization. And he said, well, I paid you to publish my story. I said, you're absolutely right. You paid me to publish your story, but you also paid me to make sure that you had a good product, a good quality product that you can be proud of. And it represents me. Your book not only represents you, it represents me. So I want to make sure that we are both represented well, and your audience gets your book, and they're not looking at you saying, what in the world is this mess? So so you did pay me, but you paid me to produce a quality product for you.
And how did he respond to that?
He responded with, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And he said, and I thank you. And the funny thing was, I don't publish without a proof. So anytime you see this is a proof. Every one of my authors gets a proof. And they get one, I get one. So go through it, read it, make sure that you're happy. Read the back, make sure that everything is worded. Whatever we need to change, we'll change. And he sent me a message. He said, I love it. I love the cover. I love because I had to develop it. I love that. And so the whole thing, when we had the conversation, I asked him a question. I said, do you trust me? And he said, I trust you. I said, if you trust me, then let me do what I know how to do. Now, Vera, I don't know how to do a whole lot of things. And I'm not perfect in this publishing game, but I know how to help somebody take their story from a thought to a realization. And I know how to bring my team in and help them and produce a quality product. And I'm grateful that I've had over 100 people trust me to do that for them in the last 2 years.
That is
So
awesome.
it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Well,
So
God is amazing. He's done
yes,
this for you. That is
yes.
amazing.
I'm
That
having
is,
my own private summer,
I
y'all.
know. I didn't say anything.
I say, okay, we're getting a little,
Well, we
you know,
already know. We
yes,
already know.
yes,
Yes. And you talk now, you also indicated how important it is for you to remain stress free.
yes.
So, what are some of the things that you do to help eliminate some stressors in your life?
I love my family. My daughter calls me even while we were sitting here on this interview. My daughter called. We FaceTime, and when I looked at the phone, it was my grandbaby's face on the phone. And they'll leave a message, and it's the grandbaby. My daughter would say, "Tell Nana, call me, Nana." That's one of the ways that I relieve stress. My children call me all the time, and I love people, so I talk all the time. Another thing that I do, I make my own essential oils. So I'm really big into essential oils. I make stress-free oil. I created a fragrance called Rhapsody. It's the signature fragrance for Paypro V Publishing, and I made those. I research and see what works for what, and I know that writing your story makes you anxious. You got to write it. That's one part of it. Then you have to you finish it. That has to be edited. Then you publish it, and it creates anxiety. So I recognize that. So I created a fragrance called Rhapsody, which helps with anxiety, and I use that for myself. Also, when I'm working, I love music. I love to sing, and I will. You know how some people whistle while they work. I sing while I work. I have that background noise going, and that helps me relieve the stress. I'm a Christian woman. I love to study. I teach Bible study. Every night, I have my mentee and her mom. We read the Bible. We're reading through the Bible, and we must be the silliest Bible reading people that you've ever seen, because we make it. It's a teenager. She's 15, so she and her mom and I are reading every night. So we have to make it interesting when we're reading. So when we're reading, and in the Old Testament, they have all those names that are hard to pronounce. And
Yes.
so as we're reading, she'll be like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Lord, thank you, Jesus, that this is not a condition of heaven to know how to pronounce these names." And so
Yes.
we keep those conversations going, and I enjoy that, and it gives me great peace. So that helps take my mind off of what's going on with me. So honestly, it's a little selfish. I do all this for it's
Well, but
a
it's
little
not. It's not. It's not. And I think probably the reason that it helps relieve some of your pain and what have you is because you're giving back. You're pouring into others. You're
yes,
pouring into others. And as a result of you pouring into others, the Lord is pouring into you and
yes,
easing some of that pain. So
yes,
that's just phenomenal. That's just phenomenal. Oh
yes.
my God, we are running out of time.
I know it just goes by so fast when you're having fun.
Yes, and your story is just phenomenal. And I'm telling you, you see her information is scrolling right now. So I'm asking you to please be in touch with her. You can feel her heart, her sincerity, and you can even see how she's overcome.
Yes,
She's an overcomer,
yes, absolutely. And
and
you too. You can be too.
yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm just so grateful and so honored that our paths are crossed and that we are connected.
Yes.
We are connected, and I'm excited about that. And so, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we're going to, oh, before I give you the last word, let me back up again and say to you guys, please help support my program. Please help support all the things that we're trying to do. As a matter of fact, my show is extended now to another day. So starting on Thursday this week, I'll be coming on Tuesdays and Thursdays at
Right.
7 p.m. but I need your support. So please send a donation. Any amount, it doesn't matter. Cash App is still $ is still great. PayPal and Zelle, Vera Thomas Show, 1117@gmail.com. We need your support. So thank you very much. And thank you for listening. I love you very much. I'm going to give LaQuinta the last words, and then the last thing you'll hear is the intro going out. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Again, I'm LaQuita Parks, and I'm the CEO and founder of Pay-Per-View Publishing. Listen, 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. Everybody has a story. What's your story? Don't hoard your story. Everything that happens to you happens for a reason. It's for you to share your story, because there's somebody waiting on the other end of your story so that they can get healing from their story. There is power in your story. You don't have to share your story with me. You don't have to reach out to me to publish your story, but share your story. There's somebody waiting for that breakthrough, and you're the breakthrough for them. You are the answer to somebody's prayer. Be encouraged. Know that you can overcome your walking limitations, because the power is within you. God has already given it to you. All you have to do is do it. You cannot do anything without making a move. Make the move. You have the power to do something. If there's anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to me. My number is at the bottom, 678-608-9948, or you can reach me through my website, payprovipublishing.com. That's PAPROVI publishing.com, and let me help you take your story from a thought to a realization. Thank you so much, Vera. This has been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, thank you. God bless you. And I want to say good night. Thank you all. Love you.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk